It's November 8th.
Yeah.
Everybody has gone home from the East-West gathering by the 8th of November. Is
Yeah,
everything over? So,
everything was over by then.
so did Baba continue to stay in Pune past the gathering? Or did he
I
come
think
back to
he
Meherazad?
stayed there for about 3 or 4 days and then left. Came just for that purpose.
And then you all would go and clean up Guru
Yeah.
Prasad as usual, just as you would in the summer.
Yeah. It was a short and brief visit. Baba came towards October end and left about 10th of 12th of November. I can't remember the dates. It might be all in Lord Mayor, probably. Yeah.
I was just reading that part.
Hmm?
I was just reading that part.
Pardon?
He was just reading that part.
Oh, you were. When did he leave back for Meherad?
I don't remember.
Ah.
I have a good memory. That's why I have the book.
Do you want me to close the thing?
He can't
So
even
we'll
remember to
get-
take the batteries out.
Exactly.
No, I was just thinking of it as a diving board for you, perhaps to have something that you wanted to share.
I think after that he asked all his lovers to send him a letter or something.
That's right.
It's there, no? Yeah. And what glowing letters came. Yeah.
What were they to say in the letter? Do you remember?
Pardon?
What were they to? What was the letter about that they have to write?
What was
What was the letter about that they were supposed to write about? I think it's their experience.
East-West gathering.
Study?
Yeah, of
Yeah.
what they felt.
Yeah, what they felt.
I think you and I sent a letter,
They did?
probably.
When did you come to Baba?
Me? 1977.
Oh.
It took me a long time. I had heard of Baba before,
Uh,
maybe 1971. I was
Gotcha.
very stubborn,
that was
stupid, whatever.
so.
In Puerto Rico?
Yeah, with someone.
Who were you, who was your connection?
Arsenio.
Arsenio.
Rodriguez.
Mm.
In a
Arsenio.
more roundabout way. There was at the time I was second year in college in San Juan,
Mm.
and there had been riots. We used to have those.
Riots. They had riots in
at the
Puerto Rico.
university.
Where is Arsenio now?
He lives in Myrtle Beach.
He's retired from the United
He's
Nations.
basically retired, but he's still doing consulting work for the
Ah.
United Nations.
Acha.
Traveling to China, it seems.
Ah,
Yeah. So anyhow, I was running out because the riot police were in the university, and I ran into this professor's house. And I then befriended the man. And he said that a friend of his was finishing his doctorate that summer, returning from Miami, and that he was following an Indian guru, and he was referring to Arsenio. From then I met a year later, next summer, after that happened.
acha.
So that's how it happened. But it took a while, it took a long time.
Yeah. Takes a while to catch on. The
Yeah,
color
yes.
color doesn't come right on the fabric right away. When you put a fabric in for dyeing, it takes time for the color to bind on the cloth. Similarly, takes time for one to come to his contact here.
It's pretty amusing because a little bit after that, then I transferred to go to college in the U.S. And I was living in the apartment that I was in was right across from the Meherazad bookstore in Inman Square.
In-
And every
in
day
Buckingham.
going to class, I would see the poster, "Don't worry, be happy." And I never went in until many years later that I returned to work in Boston, and then I was busy.
Well, you didn't go in because Baba said, "Don't worry, be happy."
Exactly. Well, I was not aware of it. Yeah. So,
Yeah,
amusing.
you just can't enter in You just can't cross the threshold until
Yeah.
the time is right. Right.
You know, they have a saying at home that they say that it's better to arrive at the right time rather than to have been invited.
Ah, yeah.
Mm.
Are there many Baba lovers in Puerto Rico now?
At this point,
Or is it just you guys?
now there's few. There have been many over the years. There was a time when there were maybe like 30 of us.
Really?
And now there may be between, I don't know, between 6 and tops 10 maybe. Because many have moved out. A few others may have died.
That's
So it's amazing. That the
Susan
last
White's
two-
brother also was there, no?
Wincoats?
Wincourt? No.
I don't think so.
No.
Win? No.
The last two who became Baba lovers found about Baba through the internet on their own. Just baffles me, blows my mind.
A lot of people now from different countries are discovering Baba through the internet.
Yeah, incredible.
It is incredible.
Yeah.
when you
I
think
mean,
about
there's a
it.
group of on Facebook called Baba Lovers, and you have all these people dropping in and putting comments down, who
Mhm.
basically are not Baba lovers, but they've discovered it and they like the discussion which is going on over there, so they just drop in and make comments on the group.
This is followers of Meher Baba?
No, it's just called Baba Lovers.
Baba lovers.
Yes.
And actually, just before I made this trip here in San Juan, after so many years and nobody cared for it, all of a sudden all these people started borrowing books about Baba. And that was kind of amusing. I'm waiting to see what happens when I go back.
Well, we do. I've been going to Spain for a few years. There's a very good Baba Lovers group over there. And this year was Eric's 95th birthday, and I was going to be in Spain for his birthday.
Yeah.
So I told the family that I was staying with Miriam and Pedro, so we will celebrate his birthday. So they invited all the Baba Lovers, and about 16, 18 people came. And I cooked Eric's favorite meal. I cooked masala dal and rice with mutton kebabs and a salad. And then we showed his favorite movie, which was that Marathi movie, Sant Tukaram. And it's got English subtitles. And all these 15 people were just sitting over there, like that. And then they were crying at the end. It was so sweet.
What part of Spain are they in?
Estepona, in the Costa del Sol,
Okay. Near any big city? Or
near Malaga.
Near Malaga.
But we had a lovely birthday for it. We just didn't make onion bhajis, but other than that, we
No,
did
but if you made dunsak and
Yeah,
kebabs, you would have been very
And
happy.
we had to really improvise because she didn't have the right dal. She only had the full ones with the shells
Oh,
on.
yeah.
And she had a bag of them. And she said, oh yes, I have dals. And then when she showed me what she had, I said, okay, don't worry, no need to worry. So we soaked them overnight and then we cooked them with all the masalas and then ground it to a paste in a blender.
But you were able to get the masalas there.
Yeah.
That was good.
I took some with me because I knew what I was going to do for it.
Okay, so
I took
that's,
some with
yeah.
me. But Miriam likes to experiment with Indian food, so she has quite a lot herself. And people came from so far away, people were coming from Malaga and Marbella and Cadiz and all of that. They all came for their birthday.
Paul Kumar's sons are there?
Was there. But Pascal was there. And he had a restaurant in Portobanos, and then he sold it last year, or this year, earlier this year.
He sold it.
So they
And
moved out, they're no
Then he
longer
moved back to France.
in France.
But the bar, I think, is still,
Oh, the bar's
he
still
was,
there, somebody
because he was
bought it.
going back and forth to help get them settled in it for a while.
Sorry, you still have
Pascal was going back and forth between France
to
and
help the new owners.
to help the new owners,
Ah.
yeah. Now
Very
that's
nice,
probably
yeah.
finished, yeah.
I haven't been to Spain in 40 years.
Wow.
Beautiful place.
Yes, it is.
I think I haven't been in about 5 lifetimes.
Yeah. But you'll have the feeling that you were there.
Yeah, but it's about 5
I
lifetimes.
maybe you were a toreador, huh?
Now,
There you
Baba
go.
went to Avilas. Did he go to, he went to
Avila.
Avila.
You went to Avila.
Because I know he mentioned it as one of the places in Europe. 3 are in Italy and 1 is Avila.
It's a major place of pilgrimage in the Middle
Yeah.
Ages.
Saint Catherine.
Well, that wasn't one.
Saint Teresa.
What he
Saint
said,
Teresa.
that's Saint Teresa.
Mm.
And then the three in Italy that he said those 4 places were the main spiritual centers of
So which are the
forces
ones
of
in Italy?
Europe, which was Avila in
In
Spain,
Spain, yeah.
Portofino,
Where Baba
and,
went to
yeah, the place Bob had been, Portofino, Venice,
St. Mark's.
St. Mark's
And
Square,
Assisi.
yeah, and Assisi.
Assisi.
Didn't say Assisi?
Assisi.
Oh, that's Saint Mark.
Assisi, Portofino, and Venice in Italy. He didn't mention Rome, or it was that, and Avila.
Rome is a financial center, not a
You
spiritual
mentioned the
center.
Pope? You didn't mention the Pope?
No, he
Yeah.
didn't mention that.
I thought he wasn't that crazy about Rome. I thought he
No, I don't, yeah,
thought he
I don't think Bob didn't like Rome that much.
wasn't happy about the atmosphere. Wasn't that another mayor?
He went into St. Peter's Church there, no?
Cathedral.
Cathedral
The Basilica as well.
Must have, I don't know.
in Rome.
I know it was on the map.
See, Christ actually visited his representative on earth in this Advent, but the representative didn't know about it.
Mhm.
I know, isn't that funny? It's
Christ
funny.
visited his representative on earth in this Advent, but the representative didn't know about it.
Meaning the Pope.
So was it that story Jeff was telling in the car?
Oh, wow, David.
The Polish Pope who did the miracle of turning a blind man deaf?
Turning the blood, that's good.
You know, I heard that the place where Baba stayed, Alta Chiara in Portofino, now you can't go and see it or anything.
Mm.
And apparently they don't allow anyone up there. And it's been sold and then resold. There was some sort of
Somebody
a
stumped up the 6.5.
It's now again offered for sale.
Yes,
Oh, really?
6.5 million euros they want for it.
Pay $1 million or something.
No.
No,
Six
more
point-
than that,
6.5
6.5
million
million.
Ah.
Euros are more than
It's about
dollars.
$8 or $9 million.
Yeah, they want about that much money for it. For Alta Chiara. I'm sure there's a rich Baba lover somebody who wants to buy it and donate it to the trust, no? As a
Ah,
center.
Right.
If I get that kind of money, I promise.
Me too. If I win the Euro Millions, I promise. We'll buy Alta Chiara.
You buy out, then who will maintain it?
Yeah,
You set up a
maintaining.
trust
The
for that
trust?
also.
The trust?
You
Yeah,
set up a
maintaining
trust
the
to
thing.
maintain the property.
Jai Baba, Jai Baba. Same thing happened in Guru Prasad, you know. Guru Prasad is where Baba did a lot of public gatherings and darshan, the East-West gathering. And it was a palace that the Maharani of Baroda had kept specially for Baba. It was actually her private sort of summer residence, and she would come sometimes be there. She had several palaces all over the country, but this was one of her palaces. It was like a palace. It was a beautiful place, all marble flooring and marble statues, and granite pillars to support the porch, marble steps leading up to the porch. Yeah. And it was with difficulty that we were first able to get it for Baba. And then Baba liked the place very much, and Baba began to come there quite often. And when Baba would be there, the it would be at Baba's disposal. So when Baba left, for the rest of the year it was vacant. So she had other friends who would come and stay there, because after Baba would leave, the Pune racing season would begin. It would be the monsoons when Baba would leave. So usually Baba came in the summer months, because after the accident his body was getting frail and he couldn't bear much heat and all that, and it would be extremely hot at Meherazad. So the summer months Baba would come to Guru Prasad from the end of March to beginning of June. Those were the months that Baba used to stay and then go away. So after he went, the monsoons would start, the rains. And in those times, Pune was a very beautiful garden city, and with a big racing track and big bungalows all over the place. So these the races would begin, the horse races. So in other times they would be traveling around the country in Bombay, Calcutta and all. But in June to about September, the Pune racing season. So she had friends in the racing community, and they would ask her to let them stay there, and they would stay in the palace. Eventually, the Maharani stopped them from coming. Said, no, now I don't want this palace to be used by anybody. Only Baba will use it. Whenever he wants, he can come and occupy it. So some of her friends resented that. And I don't know if you have heard of Nan Umrigar.
Mm-hmm.
She was one of those. She was a great racing fan.
Right.
Yeah. Her son
Yes.
was an ace jockey named Karl. And so she was in this racing community, and she had her friends and all that. And she was feeling very resentful. Who's this Meher Baba for whom we have been debarred from staying here? And she wasn't ready then for Baba. So Baba had laid the trap for her, of course. What happened is, later on, her son got into the racing thing and he became a jockey, and he had become a ace jockey in the country. And there was a very big, important race that was to be run. It's called, I think, Derby or something. Pune Derby, yeah. So everybody was expecting him to win that race. And he was in the race, and his horse was doing very well. And it almost was going to cross the finish line when somebody from the crowd, must have been some enmity or something. They they had a mirror, and they shone it on the horse's eyes, and the horse was scared, and it just reared up and threw this Karl down. and it was he was in full gallop at that time when he fell, and the horse accidentally trampled over him, and he died on the spot there. And his mother saw all this in front of her, and she was deeply shocked. He was hardly 20, 21 years old, in the prime of his career, and is her very dear son, and he was dead there. And that shook her up quite a bit, and she was very disconsolate and was constantly pining for him. Then somebody suggested her to do some, what do they call? Automatic writing and all that. So she began to do that, and in the automatic writing she contacted the spirit of her son, she says, and he was the one who dictated this message to her: go to Meher Baba, go to Meher Baba. That's the reason how she came.
What year was this happening?
What year,
Do you remember the years?
More or less.
approximately?
I think it was the
80s.
80s.
Yeah.
And
And then first the writing was very unclear. Go to Meher and go to Meher Baba. This automatic writing, she describes it in her book. Yeah. So then she came to the Samadhi, and after that she started to come here and became a very close Baba lover here. She's still there.
she brings a lot of people to
Yeah.
Baba.
From the racing community and all that.
Well, a lot of people who've lost someone
Yeah.
they love.
Her book became
Because-
very popular in England, and she was going there talking to people,
Yeah.
and lots of people are interested in her story.
Of course, Baba never liked all this,
Yes.
but even through this medium, so many people came to Baba.
You know, a while ago we had this guy called David Cousins from England
Yeah.
who was a light worker. He apparently was a light worker. He said to me he was beyond the seventh plane. He was not even on the seventh, he was beyond the seventh
Beyond.
plane.
Like on the 10th or 12th.
But he brought a lot of people to Baba.
Yeah.
And Nan Umrigar was also bringing a lot of people to Baba through this automatic writing. And Erich was sitting here one day and somebody said to him, what about this? You know, like this is all, Baba said, don't dabble in the occult, don't dabble in the supernatural. These people are bringing people to Baba through this medium. And Erich turned around and said, do you fish? And the guy said, no. He said, if you fish, you will understand that you don't use the same bait for every fish. You have to change the bait to suit the fish. And he said, Baba is the ultimate fisherman, and these people are bait. So once the bait catches the fish, they don't need the bait anymore. The bait becomes irrelevant, but
Yeah,
the
because-
bait has to be there to
I
bring them to Baba.
had kind of a incident surrounding that lady. My younger daughter, Joey, was going to get married to her current husband, Aaron, and his parents are Jewish, and the mother-in-law is very orthodox, and she was very upset that her son would marry a non-Jewish, because in that religion, the Jewishness is passed down the mother.
That's
So,
right.
so anyhow, but it turns out that the lady is involved in something having to do with children's therapy, and is hired to come to Bombay to give some therapy to some, or training to some people. So she comes, and after she's done the training, the lady who's coordinating it treats her to lunch. So now they have okay, they're going to lunch, but the marriage is going to happen. You know, Jolie's marriage to her son is going to happen, and she asks the lady, that's why they went to lunch, to take her to, so they could buy some custom clothing for a wedding, someone else's wedding, an Indian friend back in the U.S. So she treats the Indian lady to lunch, and while they're having lunch, she noticed they start talking, and the Indian lady asks her why she wanted to buy this. So she makes a story that her son is marrying this girl who's a follower of Meherazad, right? And then the woman said, "What? A follower of Meherazad? That cannot be." She was a follower of Meherazad, and gives her that book that this lady wrote.
Oh,
The automatic writing.
Sounds
Sounds
Yes.
Sounds the same.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
so it all came around, and then she felt okay about it.
Anybody who does automatic writing is fine. And then she's almost Jewish.
Almost.
I don't know what, it made her feel okay with the idea, at least for a little while.
For a while.
that's good.
Yeah. So Guru Prasad was like that. Then the Maharani herself, how she came to Baba is a story by itself. She was the wife of the Maharaja of Baroda. He was a very progressive and very enlightened fellow, very modern outlook. And in those days the Rajas used to be sort of very leading a very lavish style, and they would consort with other women and all that, and lots of things would go on. But this Maharaja of Baroda, her son, was very, very straight, and he loved his wife, the Shanta Devi, and they had their own children which followed, and it was a very happy marriage that went on. And she used to be with her husband for state occasions and all that. They used to live in Baroda, there was a palace of the Maharaja of Baroda. It's now become a heritage site there now. It's called Lakshmi Vilas Palace. Still there in Baroda. So she was there, and they were living happily there. And once the Maharaja had a sort of a party at his place, at his palace, and he had invited a lot of guests. And to entertain them, a dancer was asked to come and perform dances and music and all that. And she was a very beautiful woman from South India. So she had come there to dance. She was a very attractive woman. And she would earn a lot of money doing these performances of dancing and all that. So when she started to do that, the Maharaja of Baroda was enamored by her beauty. And that was the end of the matter. What happened was that he began to ask her to come often and perform, and eventually a lot of affairs started between them, and the Maharaja began to neglect his duties to the subjects. He would be all the while with this woman, and Poor Shantaben, she was neglected, and all this sort of affair was going on, and it was a big scandal at that time. Yeah. What brings her to Baba, this is how it happened. And so she was very unhappy with what was happening. All of a sudden he became like this. And then it came to such a head that he was constantly with her all the while, neglecting all other duties. And one day it is said that that woman must have given him some alcohol or something, and while he was not in his senses, she collected all the state jewels from the palace. She had access to them because of her closeness, and made a big bundle and vanished from the scene. Yeah. And this became known to the public, and there was a big hue and cry that what is all this happening? So the Maharaja came to his senses, and he felt so ashamed that he suddenly decided to leave Baroda and went off to England. He had some property there and began to stay there and never returned back. That was her life story in brief. When just at that time Baba was in the new life, and Baba wanted to come and have a short stay in Pune. Baba was in very intense seclusion in the new life. He was at that time in Mahabaleshwar after the wanderings. Baba had come back to Mahabaleshwar, and Baba had started 100-day seclusion. So it was so very intense that Baba had got the Mandali to build a hut in a room so that nobody could see what was happening, and he would be closeted in that straw hut in a room in the bungalow that they had hired. And Baba was doing very high-powered and very intense activity in seclusion. And during these phases of seclusion, Baba's body would feel the brunt of the work, and it would have a lot of reactions on his body. So he was there for a few months, for a month or so, and then the work became so great, the load became so heavy on him that he had to just come out of the hut, and somebody described Baba's condition that he was totally exhausted, he was panting, and he looked very emaciated. He was fasting also. So at that time, then he said that now I want to have a little change and inform people I want to go to Pune for a few days rest. I will be in seclusion, but I want a change of scene. So telegrams were sent to us, and we desperately searched for a place for Baba. It wasn't easy to find a good accommodation that Baba wanted. But at that time, we got hold of this Guru Prasad. So that's a big story how we came, how it was. But there was a Baba lover who had a friend, and he was very close to Maharani of Baroda. And he told that man that we are in search of a bungalow for Meher Baba. So he says, "Oh, come on, I'll show you. I have a good place." And he showed us this palace, and we were very happy to see the whole thing. He says, "If you want, I can get this place for you." It was all empty, closed, fully furnished, So that time, we were very happy. And then a telegram was sent to Maharani saying that Avatar Meher Baba wants to come and stay in Pune for a month. Can you please allow your palace to be used? As if the man was writing to her that telegram. And after that, just like that, she had never heard of Meher Baba. And she replied back immediately that yes, you can give it to him. And that's how Baba came and stayed there in Guru Prasad. That was the first time that Baba stayed in Guru Prasad. This Maharani hadn't even met Baba. Just like that, she felt that this is a good thing to happen. And Baba came and stayed there, had a very nice stay. And after staying there for a few days, Baba left back for his and continued his seclusion. And then many years later, Baba began to occupy Guru Prasad. So that's how Guru Prasad came into the picture. And then for the first time, when Baba came in the 60s or late 50s, that the Maharani got to see Baba for the first time in her own palace. And she fell in love with Baba straight away, and she became a very close Baba follower. And thereafter, Baba would come every year, and she kept the bungalow just for Baba. Then towards the middle of 1960s, she one day was sitting with Baba, and Baba had called her. So she says, "Baba, I feel that I want to gift Guru Prasad to you, and that you could have it for yourself." So Baba said, "Fine." And there were other disciples around, that they felt very happy that Baba should say yes and accept the offer. So Baba was a very practical person also, So what he said was, "I'm very happy with your love. For the present, leave it in your name, and leave this property in your will for me. Will it to me. For the present, you keep it." So she said, "All right, Baba, just as you say." And she did that. After she left, the disciples there, you have heard of Adi Irani, I don't know, his secretary, he was there. "Baba, we should have accepted." Oh, Baba says, No, you don't know. It will come on our neck. Who's going to maintain this? So that's what brought me to this topic, to take a thing is all right, but the maintenance.
Yeah.
Back to Portofino.
Yeah.
Chiara.
So you can get the Portofino Palace and then spend your lifetime maintaining it
Yeah.
You say,
and forgetting Baba.
Yes.
Yeah.
The trust at that time was offered to take over the palace as a place where Baba had been
Yeah.
and done so much work. But at the time, Meherji told me that it would be like what he called a white elephant. The trust couldn't afford to be maintaining something of that
Yeah.
size and at that time.
Yeah.
Maybe later on it would have been different, but for them, it was all they had to do just to try and keep the samadhi and the area ready for pilgrims. Otherwise, it would have been a place. But then later they built those condos on the
Yeah.
property that was the
That's
Guru
right.
Prasad building, and just put together a memorial where people can come
That's right.
and visit in memory of that time when Baba was there. So it's still there for that. It'll always be there probably.
Yeah. Yeah, so what happened is after Baba dropped his body, the Maharani of Baroda was very sad, and she of course had left the property in her will. She had signed her will. But as she became more and more old, she couldn't manage her affairs. And her brother, he started to manage everything of her properties. And then he wrote a letter to the trust, this brother. He says that my sister has left this property in her will to the trust, but I have decided to give the property right now, because we can't keep it anymore, and the trust can have it. But I will only give the bungalow, and I'll be building a wall all around it. And I've decided to take all the other open property around and develop it. I'm selling it off to a developer. So you won't have, I will give you an access road from the side, and you can have that building, but nothing more. Which was ridiculous, because the whole palace had spacious gardens, a lawn and a driveway, and about 5 acres of property all around, in a prime location, mind you. So, and as Irwin said, the trust had just begun to function. There was no money in the trust. So, what about the taxes, and who would want to maintain that old structure? It required constant repairs. So it was a very old structure. So all the trustees decided to decline the offer. They said, we don't want it. Do what? Take away the bug. So the brother was quite an avaricious guy. Says, fine, rid of all this nuisance. And he sold the palace also. It was a great pity, because it was a heritage structure, mind you, a beautiful structure, as Arvind would remember, the palace.
Now there's the photos that you can see.
Yeah,
But that's the only memory that there will be. And Baba did say that it would be immortalized.
yeah.
And in memory, it is immortalized.
Yes.
And the photos and things that
That's,
were taken then of it
that's right.
will be there forever.
So when the builder was building it, he also felt that Baba's presence there, and he offered to have a statue of Baba built there. And he wrote a letter to the trust that give me a permission to have a Baba's marble statue at the near the gate or something. So the trustees decided that they didn't want any statue. Baba's statue would be lying there in the open. Birds would be sitting on it. Who would be taking care? And what's the idea of having Baba's marble statue there? So they declined it. Then some Baba lovers like Meherji and all, they approached the fellow who had bought the property and said, if you are willing to give something, give us a portion of the land and we'll build a small memorial there. So that's how the memorial got built. And then Meherji and others got together, and when the palace was all dismantled, all the material from that was gathered. Some of the material was bought over by Meherji and others. The marble statues and the doors and the windows. Huh?
The
They bought the
statues, they
material
bought
from
them
Baba's
from
room.
the floor.
Yeah,
room.
Baba's room,
The door.
The
bedroom.
all came from Guru Prasad building structure, and it was, that's how the memorial's built from.
Yeah,
Yeah.
even
Statues are
even the
gone.
front porch,
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
was
that's-
part of the.
The
That with
statues
the
are the University of Pune actually.
uh,
The statues have all gone to the
University of Pune. Yeah,
and they're in the porch over there.
that's
What
right.
statue?
Huh?
The
Original
marble statues are
statues
on
that
the
used to be
veranda.
there.
Beautiful, beautiful marble statue. So the memorial is still there, and people go there, and Baba's atmosphere is very much there. Baba's chair is there, and it's been looked after. It's a great hassle even to maintain the memorial. Yeah, only
Who owns that area now?
the trust.
The trust does, okay.
Meherji's sons, they still come and look after,
Grandson.
and grandson. And Mehera's sister also is looking after it. So that's how the memorial is going on.
So I mean, maintaining that small memorial is such a
It needs
major
a-
issue.
Yeah.
Imagine having to maintain that whole big palace.
Every time I go, I see it needs things that could be done. you
That's
know,
right.
Cracks and things, painting. But it's hard to keep up something.
It's hard to find somebody who wants to do it.
Yeah.
Well, you know, a couple of weeks ago, this lady came to the retreat, NPR, to Baba's Samadhi. And she came in saying, I used to, you know, I grew up across the street from Guru Prasad.
Oh yeah.
And she said every time Baba would come, her cat would leave.
Oh, Bigu.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she said the cat would go, and then when he would leave, the cat would come home.
She's Dolly Didi's daughter.
Is that who it is? Yeah.
She's Dolly
Oh,
She was
Didi's
very,
daughter. Yeah.
but she hadn't been here in a very
No,
long
she
time.
hasn't.
Dolly Didri must have died.
She died long time
She
ago.
died, yeah.
She died maybe.
And this is her daughter.
This is her daughter.
She has come.
She was just a girl then. When
She must have been a little girl.
Yeah,
She's
yeah.
about my age, I think.
She was so happy to be here.
Yeah.
You know, and
Yeah, that's
So
right.
we used to play with her.
Because of the cat, the owner started to come to Baba. Her mother. Yeah.
It was a progress Siamese,
I know.
and they didn't want to let it go just like that. So they followed it to see where she went. And that's how they found it.
What a beautiful cat that was. It's in the film, you'll see it.
See it in the film.
Yeah. A beautiful Siamese cat.
Does she have a photo of Baba and Peggy?
Probably, I don't know. I mean, I didn't see her. Because I haven't seen her in years. I haven't seen her since. You know, we used to go to their house to play.
she said she hadn't been here in all those years.
No, no. But when Guru Prasad was being cleaned up after Baba had gone to Meherazad, we all would go there. And because we were children, sometimes Dolly Didi would come and fetch us and say, come over to my house and play there. So we would go and play with her daughter and other children. and then come back, you know, to go home to Vindra House in time after the cleaning was done. I still remember when Baba's mattresses and everything would come to Vindra House, they would be piled up on a bed to be sort of stored until the next year, and we would put our noses against them and sniff because they smelled of Baba.
Yeah, the fellow is sounding the bell. It's time to go.
We need all of us.
Time to depart. You see Baba gesturing in Guru Prasad. It's clouds are gathering. Come on, move on, move on.
Send some of those clowns to Meherwan.
Beautiful films of Guru Prasad Baba's darshan program. All right, Jai Baba.
We should, huh?